Good afternoon, honorable members of parliament, the Minister of Finance and his team with us here today, and the viewing public. Welcome back to this Central Committee handling of the Budget Amendment 2023. Earlier today, we received various questions, or the Minister received various questions, and the Minister on behalf of the government had returned with various answers. Early in the meeting, we had agreed that the Minister would return to answer as many questions as he could, after which any further questions would be handled as part of the reporting and responding to the report process. So in other words, the answer to any further questions other than what the Minister is able to provide now, we've agreed that those will form part of the final report from the government, so those will be received in writing. For now, I will give the word to the Honourable Minister to provide the answers that he is able to give at this point, after which, if members of parliament do have further questions, then understand that those will be provided in writing. So that will be within the note following the final report. All of the answers shall appear in there. So, Minister, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, members of parliament. Welcome back. I'll start with the questions posed by MP Sarah Scott Williams. The first question was the general road network plan. Do we have an updated general road network plan? After internal deliberation, it has been decided to update the road network improvement plan, RNIP, in connection with the road fund that is being presently initiated. Next, in relation to your question on the St. Martin Housing Foundation subsidy, 728,000 guilders is budgeted for 2023 for the St. Martin Housing Foundation subsidy in anticipation of updating the performance agreement. This new agreement is in the final draft stage and is being circulated for approval. The St. Martin Housing Foundation has not made a substantiated formal request to the government of St. Martin or the Ministry of Roaming. A potential increase can occur when that request is received for the new performance agreement. Regarding continuing MP Sarah Scott Williams' question regarding TIAT and the BTP report sent to Parliament, it was said it will be shared with you, MP, before Monday. The contract of STB can be provided to Parliament. It will be provided by the Ministry of Azet, the Facility Affairs Department. The Department of Statistics held a public session on the preliminary results of the population census. While all the results may not be available, can information be sent and shared to Parliament? The presentation to the public held on Thursday, November 16th, is publicly available on the website of the Department of Statistics, stats.cmartin.gov.org. The next question was regarding STB's new home. Can an update be provided on a cooperation between the Dutch and French tourism offices when it pertains to marketing promotion on the island? The two offices have identified various marketing and sales activities that can be synchronized, as well as the development of other niche markets and sectors. However, one must realize that the fact that each tourist office operates in two different structures and the timing for decision-making varies. This makes it very challenging to synchronize most activities. Nonetheless, there is regular dialogue and synchronization as much as possible, especially in comparison to the past. MP Bryson's questions are next. One regarding Revolut. The answers: I'm not aware of the ins and outs of Revolut. However, I will inquire at the central bank what is the matter and see how online services can be stimulated. Next question by MP Christophe Emmanuel: did the wage tax and income tax change? Can the Minister of Finance explain the change? Or did the Minister of Finance not understand the tax laws? No, the wage tax and income tax did not change. MP Scott Williams on the concession payment of GB. The average cost for GB for water and electricity are about 5 million guilds annually, so normally GB would have to pay 1 million after offsetting the bills However, this year, due to the increase in fuel clause, we think the total expenses will be in line with the concession fee that GB has to pay. Mr. Chairman, those are all the questions that were provided to us at 3 o'clock by the answer, by the relevant ministries. The rest said they needed more time, so I guess we'll continue. We'll send those in writing with the addition of GEB and the Central Bank.
Thank you, Minister. Members of Parliament, considering that this is a Central Committee meeting, as agreed, we would receive any further answers in writing. If there are any opportunities, there is still opportunity now. If there's any other questions, this is the moment to ask it, after which I will close the meeting so that we can begin the reporting process, and then the government can provide the note following the report, which will contain the answers to all of the questions. So also including the ones that he has verbally answered. Those will be all within the report. So I will open the floor just for questions, and then after all questions are finally noted, we will close this meeting. I see we have MP Christophe Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to the Honorable Minister and his support staff, my colleagues, and everyone, good afternoon. Mr. Chairman, it would have been remiss of me to not call out or mention a few questions concerning Telem and the airport. So I would like to start with a few questions in regards to Telem. Mr. Chairman, I remember I went to the MAC school and I repeated grade 4. And my mom went and asked the teacher, what more can she do so that I won't repeat again? And the teacher said, well, he should read a little bit more. And I took a liking to reading comic books. At that time, when I was growing up, Mr. Chairman, you had the Archie books. You know, Jughead and Veronica, Betty, you know, and I used to read them constantly. I don't know if that helped, but I passed with flying colors the next school year. Mr. Chairman, it was brought to my attention, and I was surprised when I received so much comic books a couple of weeks ago in relations to so many issues pertaining to Telem. And in my liking of reading these comic books, I started to delve into what is happening in Telem. And because of that, Mr. Chairman, I have a few questions I would like to ask. Mr. Chairman, it was brought to my attention that in one of these comic books that something is seriously wrong when it comes to the importance, and what stands out is the relationship between the management and the supervisory board of Telem. Mr. Chairman, it is fair to assume that Telem is being run by different captains. My reason for saying this is because it is very essential that the supervisory board of directors and management team is always in a line with each other. And based on these comic books, Mr. Chairman, it doesn't seem that way. Mr. Chairman, in these books that I've read, another violation of the above-mentioned comics, it is stated that the board and management has made disbursements while the nature of the payments require prior approval of the supervisory board of directors. Mr. Chairman, I would like to know, how is this possible? Is this a violation of Telem's articles of incorporation? In further reading of these comic books, Mr. Chairman, I have taken note that in the books, it was mentioned that the supervisory board of directors at the time consisted of only 2 members as per April the 1st, while the articles of incorporation indicate a minimum of 5 members. So my question, Mr. Chairman, would be, why were there only 2 members? And since then, has any change been made? So, how many members are there currently on the board? Mr. Chairman, I am aware that Telem recently appointed a new CFO. can you please indicate how many years the CFO was appointed for? And also, in the meantime, can you please indicate how many years was the CEO contract renewed for? Mr. Chairman, in my gist of reading these books, it came to my attention that since 2018, no goal setting nor evaluation of management has been performed. I would like to know how is that possible? So on what basis was the CEO contract renewed? Furthermore, is this still the case, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, what is the current financial situation of Telem, especially since their recently court case lost, which involved a significant amount that has to be paid out? Mr. Chairman, it came to my attention in my reading that the internal audit department is not being used to its full potential. Here it is again, a vital department as internal audit that has been basically shut down in GEBE is also not being used to its full potential in Telem. Mr. Chairman, why is that? And since in that reading or in these comics, why is that the case, Mr. Chairman? With regards to my observation, Mr. Chairman, has any change been done since then? So through you, Mr. Chairman, when I continue to read, is it fair to say the information is limited? Doesn't really say much. It basically just outlines the challenges relationship of the management and the supervisory board. The internal audit department, which is not functioning 100%, and it touches on a few projects. So my question is, the entire situation, was it an additional report submitted with the supervisory board of Telem, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, throughout the years, I have championed my concerns with regards to the employees, especially with regards to the 12.5% cut. As a result, I am now following up with next questions. Did Telem employees receive their vacation pay? And for those whose salaries are maxed out, did they receive their merit, which in other words is a lump sum? Did the employees receive their profit sharing? Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask this question now. And I'm very concerned. Is it true that Telem plans to downsize once again of their employees? So, or is it so that Telem is planning to downsize when it comes to their employees, between 50 to 75 individuals? So what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, is it that Telem will be laying off after election? If so, please indicate what's the reason for such, and when will this take place? Mr. Chairman, I would also like to know, what does the current government, the NA government, doing about this, if they are aware of it, which I believe they are? What is their opinion, and do they agree with putting innocent and hard-working people out of jobs? Mr. Chairman, I am asking this because since this government has been in place for the past 4 years, many locals have been victimized. Many locals have lost their job, which involved decision-making of our current government, the NA government, Mr. Chairman. But I can't be remiss and not put in UP with them too as well. Is it correct that the downsize will mainly involve employees that is 50 years and up, Mr. Chairman? Is it correct that the layoff will also be focused on redundancy of functions within the company, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, is it also correct that Helma is still in a management position at Telem, still have the own phone, still have a company vehicle, still have an office at Telem? this is the case, Mr. Chairman, can Parliament be provided with her function, Mr. Chairman, and the reason for her still being at LM? Mr. Chairman, as of today, can the government give an outline, detailed breakdown of the finances of TELEM, seeing that they have lost the case with Mayor and have millions to pay? Mr. Chairman, can TELEM carry that debt? I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Emmanuel. I would like to...
Sorry.
You have more questions?
Mr. Chairman, sorry about that. Yeah, it was also brought to my attention that the contract of Mr. Mingo at the airport has been renewed. Can the government give Parliament the reason for renewing the contract? How much years or how long has the contract been renewed? And in the capacity of whom? Was it on the instructions of the Prime Minister? Was it on the instructions of the Minister? Was it on the instructions of a Council of Ministers? Because, Mr. Chairman, I heard you earlier spoke about the arm's length approach and who is responsible for which. Can the government explain and give information to Parliament as to when his contract was renewed and for how long was the contract renewed and by whom? Mr. Chairman, I know the answer will be, oh, the board renewed the contract. In addition to that, Mr. Chairman, can we get a breakdown in terms of the soft opening, Mr. Chairman, what was so disastrous with not having the mechanisms up and running? And up to date, Mr. Chairman, can the minister give an explanation as to are we anywhere closer to finalizing a date of the completion of the airport, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, also, I would like to know, Mr. Chairman, that little structure that they call, whatever they call it, how long will people suffer when entering the airport and going through that little maze, if you want to call it that, Mr. Chairman? In addition to that, Mr. Chairman, how much money has been spent thus far from the inception of Schiphol being partly joint to Princess Juliana International Airport to this date? How much money have we spent, has the airport spent in that agreement with Schiphol thus far? Also, Mr. Chairman, when it comes to the salaries of the employees, is the airport up to date with all the agreement and promises that they have made in compensating the employees for their full paid out after the 12.5% cut? I thank you very much.
Thank you. Would like a brief adjournment of 2 minutes, and we go next to the next speaker. Meeting adjourned. Good afternoon. Once again, we move on to the next speaker, which is MP Westcott Williams.
Thank you once again, Mr. Chairman, and a good afternoon. Good afternoon, Minister, and your support staff. Mr. Chairman, before the lunch break, I was asking the Minister some questions regarding the financial component of the payment to justice workers, and I asked whether when this budget is approved, passed and approved, ratified, if that would mean that the justice workers would receive their payment due over the year 2023. And the minister started to nod in agreement, and I would like that to be confirmed. Was it so? Was I misunderstood? And yeah, so I would like the minister to be clear on that. He had started to nod as I was asking the question. And secondly, the remainder of those questions we have to await, those regarding the justice and the amount in coming years and stuff like that. Those are answers that we have to await, or we'll get them in writing. But the question regarding the 3.2 million and whether that is to pay out in 2023, if the minister can give a yes or a no on that. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have MP Grisha Heilige-Martin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to those listening and viewing online, and good afternoon to the Minister and his support staff. Mr. Chairman, through you, the questions that was posed by my fellow MP, Emmanuel, sparked me to ask even a deeper question when it pertains to TELEM and the airport. I just have 2 or 3 simple questions. Regarding the questions regarding TELEM, when we received, I know when the SOAB report was final, it was also presented to COM. My question to each and every minister is, what is their feedback on the TELEM SOAB report when it was presented to them, and what is their opinion of the report? And is it any red flags to it, yes or no? Or was it, okay, no problem, we'll proceed? What's your opinion, or what was their individual opinion on the SOAB report for the Council of Ministers that was present when the SOAB report was presented? With regards to the employees that they're planning to lay off next year, which department within TELEM will be affected the most? Finance department, technical department, commercial department. Which department are they will be affected the most? And also, as it pertains to the layoff, what is the target financial amount that they're looking to lay off? So by laying them off, what is there a financial amount affiliated with the layoff? And if so, what is the amount that they're trying to cut from the operational cost when it comes to the employees? Then I have, regarding the airport, I think MP, through you, Mr. Chairman, MP Emmanuel also touched on it. He asked if it was a COM decision, a board decision, but if indeed the COM had anything to do with the extension of Mr. Mingo's extension, if it was indeed discussed, I would like to know if it was unanimously agreed in COM, and which minister was part of that COM decision regarding the renewal of Mr. Mingo's contract. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Grisha Heilige-Martin. Are there any other questions from MPs at this time? No? Minister, a lot of questions have been posed about government-owned entities, and there is one that I do want to ask about that I think is the elephant in the room, maybe quite literally the elephant in the room, and that is the harbor. The harbor, as we all know, has gone through recently some very serious litigation in terms of activities, illegal activities that have taken place there in the past. I would like to know if the government has done any sort of assessment and interaction with the harbor regarding any potential risk to the government and to taxpayers as a result of this. That's what I would like to know. Are there any other further questions from the members of parliament? No? Minister of Finance, as agreed earlier, you would be able to answer these questions using the usual procedure from the Central Committee. However, indeed, there was one that MP Westcott Williams did ask if you can answer that one before you leave. I think you're prepared to answer that.
Yes, regarding MP Sarah Scott Williams' question, so I haven't gotten an official update from the Minister of Justice, but being part of some of these meetings, what I do know is that once the LBAs, as mentioned in her presentation in Parliament before, so once the LBAs are done in December, whatever amounts are done in this period of time can and will be paid. So out of the 3.2 million guilders. Is that clear enough, MP? Just give me a nod or...
MP, would you like to clarify further? MP Westcott Williams?
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll leave it for the discussions in the public meeting. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. Anything further?
Yes, and regarding the last question by MP Helga Martin, regarding the extension, I don't recall that coming to Council of Ministers, and we didn't have any decision on it in the Council of Ministers. And I don't even recall if an extension was granted, so it's also kind of news to me also.
Would you happen to recall off the top of your head if the harbor has become a discussion in the Council of Ministers? No? Can't recall? No problem. We'll save that one for the public meeting too. Thank you, Minister of Finance. At this time, Minister, any closing remarks before we officially close this? No? So, members of Parliament, I think we've exhausted the topic of the Central Committee. As mentioned earlier, we will follow the procedure in which the report of this meeting will be submitted to the government and to Parliament. The government will issue the note following the final report, in which all of the questions that were posed throughout this entire Central Committee meeting will be submitted to the members of Parliament. As agreed, we will ensure that the members of Parliament have sufficient time to peruse this final report, after which the public meeting will be called and the meeting will be handled. So with that, members of Parliament, I thank you for your participation in this Central Committee meeting, and I hereby close this meeting. Meeting closed.